Good evening and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Tonight. We're very fortunate and privileged to have with us a lawyer, a sports enthusiast, the Chief Political Affairs Officer of Speaker Martin Romualdez in the House of Representatives, and the youngest son of our city mayor in Dumaguete City, Mayor Felipe Antonio Remollo. We have with us Attorney Felipe Claudio Deo CUISIA Remollo. Attorney Deo, mayong gabi and welcome again to my show, Let's Talk.
Mayong gabi, Dok Dinno, and thank you again for having me here.
Of course, dapat lang. Last time we had our interview was during the time that you were a fresh lawyer. I think that was last year. And many things has happened already during that time, especially sa iyo. So we would like to tackle that tonight and maybe you can discuss to our Dumagueteños what's going on in your life right now. Now, before that, Attorney Deo, let's talk about your early years in Dumaguete City kasi hindi naman lahat siguro alam na taga dito ka or lumaki ka dito. Maybe you can talk about that one.
So, Doc Deans, as you may know, akong papa, si Mayor Ipe, taga Dumaguete gyud siya. His father before him is a native of the municipality of San Jose. Dayon nibalhin sila dito sa Daro kay dito man ang mga trabaho. That's where commercial center is sa atong syudad, sa Dumaguete. So, he grew up in Dumaguete. Ato siya St. Paul for grade school, ato siya Siliman for high school and college. Dayon, after college, against the wishes of his father, my late Lolo Lando, ni adto siya sa Manila para makatuon og law school. And his very purpose was to get better education for himself, to be able to provide for his future and his future family.
Yes.
So, he met my mom dito sa Ateneo Law School. And they started, when they both became lawyers, they practiced law first in Manila. The job opportunities are more, law firms pay more in Manila, and there are more clients in Manila. But my dad still continued going home to Dumaguete kay dito man iyang pamilya, iyang papa, iyang mga igsuon o ang iyang mga nieces and nephews. Uban pod mi ana.
Correct.
But in 1998, he was given an opportunity, or there was an opportunity for him to enter the politics in Dumaguete. It was the last term of the then mayor in 1998. So when he won as mayor in 1998, my family relocated from Manila to Dumaguete. This was around 1997 ni katong nibalhin mi dito misdaro gapuyo sa ancestral home sa akong lolo and my family. And so from 1997, I was about 3 years old. And we stayed around 2001, 2002. Kaya sa re-elections, my dad did not win. So for around 4 to 5 years, actually, mao niyang first memories nako living in Dumaguete. When my parents tell me stories about our life in Manila when I was first born up to before we moved to Dumaguete, I don't have much memory. But my first memories, and as I was told, until the age of 7, it's the most absorptive that a child can be. So those are the years that really help shape a person. And I think that maayo na I was able to see and be at the hometown of my father where my ancestors came from. And that's where my upbringing happened.
Yeah.
So for 4 years, I studied in St. Paul. And then after grade 2, grade 3, ni balhin na Miss Manila around 2002.
Yeah, so ito man po ka magsibuano, no? Hindi naman ka mabaligya po dire, no?
Usahay, pretend na lang ko na wako kabalo ba para honest ang mga tao sa ako. Ang binila wala ako makasabot pero makasabot di ay.
Correct. Anyway, despite, as you said, despite studying in Manila, both for your high school and college and definitely during law school, how did you still connected sa Dumaguete? Kasi Dumagueteño, manggod ka. So, how did you come about na sige ba kag balik-balik dire sa Dumaguete, sige visit kay naman good mo'y balay gud dire sa Dumaguete sa Kantili?
Yes sir, actually sa start katong mo visit me, it was really to visit my Lolo Lando, the dad of my father. And the visits were about 4 times every year kay every big kung naay holiday or occasion, like the ones that I can remember are every Holy Week mo uli me. Not only us but also my cousins from Cebu. The brothers of my dad, we would all go to Dumaguete. We would spend our holidays there. So Holy Week, we would go home. Every Christmas, we would go home. Anything to celebrate. Kay ang Christmas is always naagyud mi sa Dumaguete kay ang birthday sa akong lolo is December 22. So my entire family, my dad's cousins, my dad's brothers, sister, we would go home to celebrate my lolo's birthday. And then 3 days away lang naman ang Christmas, so hapit na pod ang New Year. So dito na lang mid the whole holiday break.
Yes.
So that's mauna we were able to keep in touch with our Dumaguete roots. And also sa among balay, di mi kaayo mo storya sa Bisaya with my dad or mom, but if na ako'y kailangan sa akong papa or muhangyo ko niya og favor, I do it in Bisaya because it softens him up.
Correct. Magaling ang strategy mo. Anyways, let's talk about your, fresh from the bar exams and new lawyer, but doing a very big responsibility now as House of Representative. No? Let's talk about your main motivation in taking and finishing up law school and wanting to be a lawyer. What motivated you to really take up law and become a lawyer?
Well, really, becoming a lawyer, since both my parents are lawyers, it was always a path I considered as a kid. And they also pushed us towards that direction. Pero I also started thinking to myself, that is not enough motivation. Kay lisod man ang law school after 4 years of college pa. And then, what I admired seeing from my mom and dad is, as a lawyer, you're aware of what is legal, what is allowed, what is not allowed. So, it's hard for people to pull a fast one on you. And also, even if you are unemployed, you can always be self-employed. Diba? It's hard for a lawyer to be out of a job, in my opinion. And I saw that in my dad. After he became a lawyer, he practiced law in law firms here in Manila. He built relations with clients. Murag, he was on the verge of becoming one of the best practitioners in Metro Manila.
Yes.
And yet, gibiyaan niya na tanan to run as mayor in Dumaguete in 1998. Just to go through all the hassle of politics that came with it. Kay first-timer mayor, 35 years old lang. So what would the other politicians in the area think, di ba? Like, kinsaning bata, dili nato ni support, atong tangtangon ni. True enough, 2001, former mayor ran again for mayor. And, as much as we tried to fight it, those are also one of the things I fond memories, but memories lang, is campaigning for my dad in 2001. Sa 1998, di pa kayo, kay bata pa man ko. But in 2001, I was around 7 years old. And that's every night, mga pulong-pulong, dito ko, og akong igsuon, og si Pelos, og akong mama, we'd be there supporting him. And then, even after that fight, nalupig siya. My dad was down for a while, but he just jumped back right on the horse and continued practicing law.
Correct.
He knew that he could give it his all because na siya'y fallback, which is iyang pagiging abogado. So, when I realized that, I thought to myself, my parents have showed me and my brother the way. We just have to follow it and take our own path.
Yeah.
And because of that, so thus far, in my 1 year kapin na ako as lawyer and practicing law, I have no regrets, and my parents have done everything that they can to make sure that we get the best opportunities that we have.
Okay, talk about the dynamics. I mean, your dad is a prominent lawyer. Your mom is also a very good lawyer working for a company. Ikaw, you're a lawyer, and your brother as well. Nasabay kayong pumunta ng bar, sabay kayong pumasa. Si Atty. Pelos is a lawyer as well. What's the dynamics of the relationship in your family when it comes to being lawyers, and how does it feel to come from a family of lawyers?
Well, sa amo we do discuss our works, like when we have family dinners, pero dili kayo in depth, especially me. If I have it's also, I'm very happy that if I have questions about practice, or because I work for the speaker, sometimes I need connects in different government agencies or different congressmen, and I know I can call my mom or dad, and either one of them will have a connect. If I have a question regarding banking, since my mom used to work for PDIC, I call her. If I have questions regarding insurance, since she works for Prudential Guarantee Assurance Incorporated, I ask her, diba? If it's about procedural law or practice litigation, tawagon na ako akong papa, and they'll both answer, be more than happy to respond to us. But when it comes to the nitty-gritty of the work itself, they show me how to start it.
Yeah.
But in the details, I don't like to disturb them because usahaylain man pod ang akong strategy sa ilaha. And if we just argue, we end up fighting. So for me, they show me the way, but then in the details, me and Pelos, we go through it in our own ways.
Tell our viewers about your older brother, si Attorney Pelos. Where is he connected right now so that they will also know?
So si Pelos, bago pa mag-bar exam, or I think no, after the bar exam, he's worked for a law firm called GCUV, Gutok, Coronel, Uy, and Villanueva. So Pelos was an associate there, and litigation ang ilang expertise, more on criminal law.
Okay.
He enjoyed his time in GCUV, although murag nakulangan siya. So when there was an opening, after his brief stint in GCUV as an associate, there was an opening for the position of Chief of Staff for the President of PNOCEC. This is the Philippine National Oil Corporation Exploration Commission.
Yeah.
So Pelos worked as the Chief of Staff for President Chicoy Alvarez, former congressman, for almost a year, until he was headhunted by the JG Summit Group, where he is now. He works as a government relations officer of the JG Summit Group. So actually, when we have dinner at home now, since I work in government, my dad works in government, my brother works in government, we talk a lot about work. We talk a lot about politics, and we discuss the issues going on in the different sectors in the Philippines.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what Pelos is doing now.
Attorney Deo, let's talk about your present work in the House of Representatives. Big job, really big responsibility, and you're working directly under the Speaker, Speaker Martin Romualdez. Talk about your work there.
So sa akong position sa Congress under Speaker Martin is Chief Political Affairs Officer. But the bulk of my work really is to ensure that the bills, ang mga balaod that the Speaker wants to pass, are passed. So from bill drafting to communicating with various agencies, because the stakeholders of these bills, talking to committee secretaries, different congressmen, making sure that the priority measures of the Senate, the House, and the President are on track to being approved. Other than that, Speaker is almost at least 10 times in a day na siya invitation to attend an event or to give us message or to participate in something, and he does not have enough time to read, does not have enough time to do his own research on these matters. Like for example, yesterday the Speaker was invited a corporation that gives countries credit rating, and the country's credit rating will determine whether or not the investors would want to come in, whether or not the Philippines will be given a loan as a sovereign, and at what percent. So a good credit rating will help investments come into the country and will help our economy. But unfortunately, Speaker had a prior engagement. So for something like that, it was me and si Congresswoman Stella Kimbo who represented the Speaker. Wow. We were the ones who gave the investors group, the corporation, they're called Moody's Investors Inc. We were the ones who gave them the breakdown of our priority measures and how the Philippines plans on improving the economy. Other than that, other than representing the Speaker in different events, prepare pod mig mga briefer for his own. When he can attend the events, amo nang i-summarize ang mga important parts of the event, unsa ang mga topic, so that on the go, when he's on the car or when he has the time, dali na niya makita, and it's all highlighted there for him na. Another event that I recently represented the Speaker for was Diris Manila sa Liga ng mga barangay, sa the people of the barangay officials of Negros Oriental. This was actually assigned to me last minute. Kaya ang event was June 21 man, and then June 20 Nako's office, we were just discussing, si Speaker pupunta ba dito? And then parang may nagsabi, he won't be able to go because he already has a prior engagement, blah blah blah. And then may bumanggit lang na, si Attorney Remollo, 'di ba taga Dumaguete, kaya ikaw na lang mag-represent. Good. Sa Tagalog ba, niingon ko na, sige sir, kung seryoso mo, gagawin ko yan. And then, true enough, they were even willing to, kasi it was last minute, ingon sila na, kami na lang mo gamawag speech ni mo, ang comms team diri Speaker's office, para di na ka mag-hassle sa pag-prepare. Na sige, okay na, mas maayo na it comes from me, kay taga Dumaguete magpo. So, yeah, those are the things that I've been doing so far for the Speaker.
Very good. Now, you've been working closely, definitely, with the Speaker, Martin Romualdez. Can you talk about the priority legislative measures, some of it, some significant ones being initiated and pursued by the Speaker?
So, ang mga priority measures, there are 42 right now. They priority measures from the President, from the Senate, and from the House. In the previous Legislative Executive Development Authority Council meeting, that's where the executive and the legislative agree on the priority measures, and we've come up with 42. 42, a lot are important. Some touch on health, some touch on the environment and how to improve the ecosystem of the Philippines. But I want to focus on the holistic approach of the government, of this administration, to really improve the economy. And I think it started with the amendment to the Public Service Act that was passed during PRRD's time. The amendments to the Public Service Act allowed more foreign investors to come into the Philippines. Kay dito sa atong constitution o sa Public Service Act, certain areas of investment such as construction, running public services like electricity, giving electricity, water, having a media outlet, they're reserved for Filipinos. And yes, we want to give Filipinos we want them to have these positions or to run our country, but we also need support from other countries. Kaya a way that we can improve or how we can better ourselves is through proper competition. Karon di man ta hadlok na musulod and will invest in our country, then we have to improve ourselves. And other than that, it will not remove jobs. Bringing in foreign investors does not remove jobs from our Filipino citizens. It will actually create jobs.
Okay.
Right? Instead of mugama sila o dako na business center dito sa Indonesia or Malaysia, why not put a business center somewhere in the provinces, ipalayo sa Metro Manila? Kay congested naman kaayo ang Metro Manila.
Correct.
So in order to do that, we need to find ways to have more investors come in. And even engage the private sector. And one of the priority measures is the amendments to the Build, Operate, and Transfer Law. This strengthens public-private partnerships. Kay limited man ang funds sa government. So the high infrastructure projects of the government cannot be funded purely by government alone.
Correct.
So by strengthening the Build, Operate, Transfer Law, mas maganado ang mga private citizens or ang mga investors to put in their money in these public-private partnerships and invest in priority infrastructure projects of the administration.
Yes. Okay.
And in connection with this, the House of Representatives has also approved the E-Governance Act. This helps digitize the whole government process. So the goal is to create an interoperable government network where every government agency will use that network so that they can deliver services to the people online. This will help with traffic. Kay di na mo ato sa mga government offices ang mga tao. This will expedite processes in wanting to invest or entering in PPs. This will really just help bring the Philippines to a global arena because other countries are doing it, and it's high time that the Philippines does it also. And lastly, which is a bit controversial that I want to discuss, is the Maharlika Investment Fund Act. So kining Maharlika Investment Fund Act, it's actually a very good move to help the economy. We've been in this area of inflation going from 5 to 7 to 8% in the past few years. Like nothing major has changed in terms of the Philippine economy. Yes, we're improving slowly, but it's time that we do something like this. The Maharlika Investment Fund Act is the Philippines' own version of a sovereign wealth fund. Ang sovereign wealth fund is a fund of the government to use to invest in certain key areas or key sectors. Different countries have different versions of it, and none the same as the other because it depends on the country's own personal situation. This Maharlika Investment Fund will be funded actually by government financial institutions whose government mandates them to invest some of their funds. Like the Land Bank, like the Development Bank of the Philippines, naaman good ni silang mga allocations for investments for them to use. But instead of what the Maharlika Investment Fund Act does is, instead of having different pockets of government agencies who will invest independently in their own investments, they pool it into the Maharlika Investment Corporation, and the Maharlika Investment Corporation will be the one to invest directly to where
Okay.
they want in key
Okay.
sectors.
Okay.
So this cuts down a lot of the red tape.
Correct.
For example, instead of the money going from Land Bank to DPWH to the local government unit, now it goes directly from the national government to the Maharlika Investment Fund Act, to the Maharlika Investment Corporation, and then the MIC can use that to fund different key projects.
Correct. Okay.
And if the worry of the people is trust and confidence, it will not be used properly. There are checks in the law. There's the advisory board, there are internal and external audits. It will really, the concept and the idea of the Maharlika Investment Fund is very good. It will boil down to the execution. And I believe that this administration will do its best to really use this fund because we gave them the trust and confidence to use this fund for the betterment of the Philippines.
In view of recent events, no, Speaker Romualdez is now the caretaker for District 3 of Negros Oriental. Now, kindly talk about that and how his representation would work favorably for the 3rd District of Negros Oriental.
So as caretaker, si 3rd District of Negros Oriental, ang tanan na services na gibuhat sa office ni Kong Arnie dito sa Congress have been forwarded to the Speaker's office. So all medical assistance, health assistance, burial assistance, whatever social services are being asked of in Kong Arnie's office, gi-forward na sa AMUA. So we are the ones handling all of that.
Okay.
So basically that's all that needs to be done as of now kay the representation of Kong Arnie as the 3rd district rep, kay ang trabaho sa congressman is really na muka maagbalaod, write bills, propose policies and legislation that can help the Philippines and their district. You know, and on that end the speaker is above and beyond in passing all the different priority legislative legislation. So the 3rd district is well represented.
Okay. Now, in Dumaguete City, which is your home, no? Talk about what you are proud of in the work your father, Mayor Remollo, has been doing under his stewardship. I mean, you're a personal insider and you know exactly what the mayor has been doing over the past years.
Well, one thing I want to highlight is katong iyang response sa COVID-19 pandemic.
That's right.
Ay sa akong what I remember is Dumaguete was one of the lowest number of COVID positive, lowest number of people who have died due to COVID. And he really handled the distributing with the help of the government officials of Dumaguete and the health department in Dumaguete City. They were able to give out vaccines faster than some LGUs. And another critical thing I remember is katong number of COVID-19 positive people, daily number of positive people decreased. The province under the late Governor Digamo issued an ordinance saying na di na kuno kailangan ang PCR na mo makasulod diri sa Negros Oriental. And what I admired about what my dad did was, even if he's a good friend of the late governor and they've been on the same side with a lot of issues, he did not stop the requirement for PCR for Dumaguete City because he was not comfortable.
Yes.
Okay? It's his city, but he's responsible for the people. So he still made sure that required gyud ang PCR before makasulod. And that's because of that, he was made the ambassador for COVID-19 related areas for the Region 7. Other things that I've really admired are the sports events that my dad has been able to, with the help of the tourism department, been able to do in the city of Dumaguete. Okay, this helps the youth. That's what we want. We want to encourage sports. We want to encourage recreational activity so that our youth don't go out drinking, smoke, like doing other extracurricular activities bad for yourself. So we give them extracurricular activities which are good for them, and that's what we want to promote.
Yeah.
Diba?
Yes.
But more than this, when these people come, the different athletes from all around the country, they have to eat in restaurants. They have to find accommodations. They keep the commercial activity alive. You know, tourism really helps build up the economy. So other than engaging the youth and helping them, learn through recreation, we are also helping the economy. And I guess lastly, I'd like to highlight then that my dad was able to help the waste disposal, the waste problem, the waste management problem in Dumaguete City through the closure of open dump site and the establishment of central materials recovery facility. So there are machines now that makes residual waste into hollow blocks, paper blocks, or plastic into school chairs.
Correct.
So this is a very good initiative because you're taking something that damages the environment that is bad for Dumaguete, and you're turning it into something that can be used for good, for schools, for the different events, those things on the
Okay.
top of my head.
Well said. Atty. Deo, does your father's passionate work that you have personally witnessed as his son for Dumaguete City inspire you in some way to follow in his example and possibly, follow as a public official in the future?
Well, of course, nakita good na ako ang iyang serbisyo or sakripisyo para sa dakbayan sa Dumaguete kay dili man niso mag-mayor daghan sa mga problema. He's making everybody's problem of Dumaguete his own. And as hard as it is, one thing that he never forgets to remind, me, my brother, or my mom, the reason why he does it is political will. Kaya naman siya vision for Dumaguete. There is something that he wants to achieve because he's proud of his hometown and he wants to make it. He wants to be able to go out in the world and tell people, that I live in Dumaguete City and it is a safe place to be in. It's a fun place to be in, and there's a lot of opportunity for not only for foreigners to visit, but also for other people to live there, to help grow the economy. But I told he tries to, even he is not sure if ganahan siya na mudagan me kay he himself knows the responsibility and the hard work and the efforts that you have to put in and the hardships that you have to go through. And para sa iya, murag, is this something I want my sons to go through as well?
Yeah.
But after long discussions about whether or not politics is in my future, always end it with Layo Pabitawang 2025. So murag niingon ko sa iyahan na give me at least till the end of the year to decide or to commit whether or not I want to enter into the 2025 elections. And then after that, napa may 2028, napay,
Yeah.
So right now for 2025 elections, I said my deadline for my decision would be the end of the year.
So you're valid.
But definitely, seeing a lot of, when I talk to my friends diri sa Manila ba sa akong situation, the number one response I get is sayang ba naanay daghang proyekto or projects that my dad started, naanay vision, naana ang roadmap, naana ang master plan. And I guess the best way I can say it is my dad, as much as he trusts the people that support him in Dumaguete City or his allies, political allies in Dumaguete City, there's nobody he trusts more than his family.
Oh, yes.
So if he wanted to pursue his vision for Dumaguete City, I believe the best way to do it is to entrust the responsibility to someone who he can trust.
Yeah, having said about vision, do you share in your father's vision for Dumaguete City?
Yes, his vision is, to make Dumaguete a better place for its citizens and for everyone. A place where a lot of tourists go, tourism is pushed, a place where there is peace, safety, and security, a place where health services are readily available for everyone. But sa akong huna-huna, this vision for Dumaguete City cannot be achieved by Dumaguete City alone. It's hard na mahimurag Cebu City or Metro Manila Dumaguete City kung ang mulambo lang ay ang Dumaguete City, because then the other towns, municipalities, cities sa Negor or even Negros Occidental, dito sila mo congest sa Dumaguete City kay that's where job opportunities are and everything. But it really has to be a holistic effort between the government officials of the different cities of Negros or different barangay cities, municipalities of Negros Oriental. Because you have to connect roads, you have to make bridges, you have different big infrastructure projects will cover not only Dumaguete City but other cities municipalities around it. So only through a united effort by the province can really Dumaguete City be the best that it can be, and Negros as a whole.
Yeah, well said, Attorney Deo. Now, with that, kindly share to us your message to the people of Dumaguete, the gentle people of Dumaguete City, and to your father, Mayor Ipe Remollo.
Sa mga tao sa dakbayan ng Dumaguete, magpasalamat ko nagihatag ninyo ang inyong trust o confidence sa ato ang mayor and to my father, Mayor Ipe Remollo. Magpapasalamat pud ko sa mga government officials sa dakbayan ng Dumaguete. Ang pag-uswag sa ato ang syudad is a result of the joint effort of the government officials of the entire city. Ang inyong sakripisyo ug serbisyo ay nakatabang sa paglupad sa ato ang syudad. Today is June 30, 2023. Mayor Ipe's administration will end exactly 2 years from today. Although a lot has already been accomplished, there is still a lot more that can be done for Dumaguete City. Ihatag na nato ang ato ang full support sa ato ang government officials para makatrabaho sila og maayo ug makahatag sila og mga proyekto ug serbisyo para sa ato ang mga tao. Come 2025, there will be a new mayor in Dumaguete City. My hope for Dumaguete is that the hard work embodied by the mayor and the rest of the Dumaguete government officials for the past 7 years will resonate on the people so that whomever will take his place as mayor will not take the job lightly, because God knows that Mayor Ipe does not take the job lightly. So for the next 2 years remaining, I challenge the people of Dumaguete, the government officials, and I challenge Mayor Ipe Remollo to continue the hard work, to keep pushing and to keep doing more. Kay di po human ang trabaho. So maningkamot ta and let's keep up the good work.
Well said, Atty. Deo. Salamat Jud kayo for being my guest
Salamat
tonight.
po, Dok Dinno.
Yes. That was our guest for tonight, the Chief Political Affairs Officer of Speaker Martin Romualdez in the House of Representatives, and the youngest son of Dumaguete City Mayor Ipe Remollo, Attorney Felipe Claudio Deo Remollo. And please do continue to like us at our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter accounts, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel, Let's Talk with Dok Dinno Dumaguete. So that's our show for tonight. I'm Dok Dinno. Be well, and let's keep talking.